Hey everyone, Jared here with ToneandTitan.com, and these are 5 great exercises that you should do every day to keep your core healthy and strong. Coming at you right now. So, as a doctor of physical therapy, I see a lot of different patients for a lot of different reasons. The most common thing that I see in my practice is low back pain. Now, low back pain comes from many different causes. It could have been, I worked too hard over the weekend, I slept funny last night, it's been bugging me for years and years, it's been getting gradually worse and worse. There's so many different reasons that people come in to see me for low back pain. Now, the thing is, the majority of these people, I wouldn't even necessarily need to see if they did one thing, and that one thing is keep their core healthy and strong. And so a lot of times that's what I do. All day long I spend recommending these core strengthening exercises to people to make them a little stronger, to make them a little healthier, to make even that low back hurt a little bit less. So those are the things that I want to share with you today. So these are 5 of the exercises that I recommend most often to people in order to keep your core healthy and strong. So let's get started. Our first core exercise is probably my favorite, just because it activates so many layers of the abdominal cavity so efficiently. We're going to get down and we're going to do some planks. Now, with all of these exercises, I want to show you a beginner version and then a little bit more of an advanced version, just so that there's something on this spectrum that hopefully works best for you. So to get down into just our standard plank, what you're going to do is get down on your elbows and on your toes, and then what I want you to do is try to make a straight line as possible. I'm looking for a straight line from your shoulders, hips, knees, ankles, all the way down. That means you've got to keep your stomach engaged. I want you to keep your belly button sucked in if you can, and I want to keep your back flat. Don't let your arch back down towards the floor, and then I want you to hold this for about 20 to 30 seconds for a beginner. If you need a little bit more of an advanced option, you can add planks with a march. And so what we're going to do is basically just take away one point in our base of stability, causes those core muscles to work a little harder. You're going to alternate marching your left foot and then your right foot, right foot, all the while maintaining that nice tight core position, that nice straight plank position. So again, about 10 marches is what we're after on the more advanced version. About 20 to 30 second hold is what you're after on the beginner / intermediate version. Exercise number 2, this one's going to work a little bit harder, kind of the posterior element. We're after the glutes on this one, and we're also after the lumbar stabilizers, kind of the quadratus lumborum, the erector spinae group. There's quite a few muscles that are going to actually stabilize your spine. Those are the ones that we're after with bridges. In order to do a bridge, what you're going to do is get down on your back with your knees bent. I want you to squeeze your butt together, so we're going to focus on contracting the glutes, and then use your hips to lift your butt up off of the ground, basically to push your pelvis up towards the ceiling. Hold at the top of that bridge position for about 3 seconds or so, and then come down nice and slow. Beginners, you're going to shoot for about 10 reps 3 times of this, so about 30 reps total. Now, if you need a little bit more advanced version of this one, the single leg bridge is going to be where it's at. What you're going to do now is get down on your back with one knee bent, the other leg is out straight, and then you're going to engage that one hip to lift your hips up towards the ceiling. So keep your one leg out totally straight, and then you're just using that one single leg, that one hip, to lift the whole lower body up towards the ceiling. Just a great way to isolate that one glute, also that one kind of erector spinae, the quadratus lumborum group in there. Great way that we can isolate and target all of those groups. So bridges and single leg bridges is exercise number 2. Try that one out. Exercise number 3 is going to be some side planks. We're going to hit the obliques a little bit harder with this one. Also a great way to kick on those lumbar stabilizers that we mentioned earlier. What you're going to do is get down into a side plank position, so on the outside of your right foot and over on your right elbow. And on this one, what I'm looking for is a straight line, nose, belly button between the knees, kind of all the way down that way. You don't want your hip to be too high, you don't want your hip to be too low. Stabilization and isolation is the name of the game on this one. Same thing with kind of the beginner intermediate straight plank that I showed you earlier. About a 20 to 30 second hold would be great for beginners on this one. Now, if you need a little bit more advanced version of this exercise, we're going to get into a side plank with a hip dip. So what that looks like, you're still down in that same side plank position. Now we're just going to add a little bit more of a dynamic movement to it. You're going to push your hips up towards the ceiling, and then nice and slow you're going to drop your hips all the way down towards the floor, push them back up towards the ceiling, drop them back down towards towards the floor. Each time you do that counts as 1 rep. What I tell people is to shoot for about 10 reps on the right, and then you're going to roll over, and then you're going to do 10 reps on the left. So exercise number 3 is going to be the side plank. Our next exercise to increase core strength are going to be some bird dogs. You're going to get down onto all fours, and you're going to extend that right arm out in front of you. As that right arm goes in front of you, your left leg goes straight back behind you. You're going to hold that position for a couple of seconds, come back down to the starting position, and then alternate. So now left arm is going to reach forward while the right leg kicks back, hold for a couple seconds, and then come back down. Right arm, left leg, and then left arm, right leg. And then you're going to alternate that series. I love this exercise because we work a little bit of some what we call reciprocal muscle activation. You're reaching forward with that left hand as that right leg is kicking back behind you. Works those stabilizers a little harder to prevent any rotation motion in your spine. It doesn't feel like much, but this is really a great exercise to target and isolate those smaller lumbar stabilizer groups. And so you're going to shoot for about 10 reps on each side, so count about 20 total, and then you're going to do that 3 times. If you're looking for a little bit more advanced version of the bird dog, we're going to do some bird dogs with some elbow taps. And so get down into that same position, so you're down on all fours. And the first step is the same. You reach forward with that right arm, the left leg goes straight back behind you, but now rather than coming back down to a neutral position, you're actually going to tap your elbow and then extend back out into that same bird dog position. Reach back in, tap the elbow, extend back out into that bird dog position. And so it's a little bit more of an endurance activity as we're just working on one side. You're going to shoot for about 10 of those elbow taps in a row, but then we also kick on some of the trunk flexors with this one. We actually activate some ab groups as we get down into that cross crunch position. Shoot for 10 touches on the right side and then shoot for 10 touches on the left side and repeat that 3 times. That's your more advanced version of that bird dog exercise. Our last exercise is going to be some side-lying hip abduction. Now, a lot of people are not only weak in their core, but their hips as well. And a lot of times this low back pain is actually the result of some hip abductor weakness. It's these lateral hip muscles that just can't stabilize enough. We've got to create a very stable platform for that low back to kind of move and generate movement around. And so your hips play such a key role in that. We actually spend a lot of time doing some hip strengthening in the treatment of low back pain with really great results. And so for these side-lying hip abduction exercises, what you're going to do is lay down on your left side with your left leg bent and your left elbow kind of tucked under you. Your right leg is out straight, and then what you're going to do is use those muscles on the side of your hip to raise that straight right leg up towards the ceiling and then straight back down. What I want you to do is focus on pushing that hip forward in front of you as you're doing this exercise. You should feel this muscle more in your glutes than you do more in your hip flexors. That's how you know you're doing it correctly. Shoot for about 10 reps on the right side, roll over and do 10 reps on the left side, and then you're going to repeat that 3 times. Now, if you're looking for a little bit more advanced version of this, what we can do is we can actually pop up into a modified side plank or even a side plank while we're doing these hip abduction exercises. And so to do that, you're going to pop up onto your elbow and onto the outside of your knee. We're just lifting the hips up off of the floor. You're going to raise that leg up towards the ceiling and then return it down nice and slow. Now, the key here is that you're actually using that down leg to stabilize while you're working on that up leg doing the exercise. And so it's a great way to actually kick that one up a little bit higher, make it a little more intense, and make it a little bit more effective. So there you have them, 5 of my favorite exercises that you can do every day to increase your core strength. Now, they're not too hard, they don't take too long to do, but they go a long way. They're really going to be effective. I know that you're going to benefit from doing those. And so I hope you liked this video. If you did find it effective, if you found it informational, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and thank you for that in advance. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those down below, and I'll get to those just as soon as I can. While you're here, it's also a great chance to subscribe to our channel. I share a lot of great tips and advice like this, some workout tips, some workouts themselves, some rehab, some physical therapy tips like we just did today, things of that nature. So if you're into that, and I hope that you are, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm also going to put one right up here so you can use that to subscribe. Here, if you've never been to toneandtighten.com, this is my website down here. You'll find information just like this. We'll share another couple of videos over here that you might like, and until next time, we'll see you right back here on Tone and Tighten.